guys, welcome. This is Alex Rodriguez, and this is the Bay Cities Construction Show. We put together a new episode every week, so if you haven't done so, please make sure you like and subscribe. We're going to be talking tonight about permits. This is episode 52. And if you're wondering what the channel's about educating you as the property owner about your next project, your kitchen, bathroom model. If you're considering doing an addition or an ADU, we have a bunch of videos about that, and that's what our show is all about. So if you haven't done so, please make sure you like and subscribe. Tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about when you need permits, and we're going to talk about the difference between an over-the-counter permit process, an express permit, or doing a full submittal. And like always, we have a little trivia where we give away some kind of cool little gifts for anybody that gets the right answer to our trivia question. And we cover commonly asked questions or any questions that you guys submit to us live. That's during our Q&A show. So let's get into it, guys. Let's talk about permitting. And these are very generalities about pulling permits. And for the most part, most cities are the same process or very similar process, but there are some different nuances, and we're going to go over those things together. So one of the most commonly asked questions, and this is the reason we're doing the show on this tonight, is at what point do you need permits? At what is the size of the remodel that triggers the permit processes? So anytime you're going to do substantial upgrades to your mechanical, your MEP, mechanical, electrical, or plumbing, if you're going to be doing an addition or substantial framing, anything that's structural framing, if you're removing a load-bearing wall, you're going to have to get permits and have a full set of plans. Depending on the level of alteration to the building, if you were just doing painting and maybe even new flooring, you don't need to get permits for that. But if you're altering the shape of the room by removing walls or making windows larger, etc., you're going to need to pull permits, and you're going to have some plans for it. So let's talk a little bit about that. Many people are considering upgrading their electrical. I see us upgrading the electrical on almost 90% of the projects. Many of the old houses built in the 70s have smaller electrical panels, 100 amp panels, and everybody wants to have a 200 amp panel. Maybe even a little bit bigger, especially if you're going to be adding an electric car to the house. Most kitchen remodels will trigger this. So if you need a new panel, you're definitely going to have to pull a permit for it. But the good news is you can get an express permit. And we're going to talk about different nuances between the permits. But if you're doing major repairs, like if you're replacing sewer lines, if you're doing a bathroom remodel and you're replacing the fixtures, you definitely want to get a plumbing permit for that. So in addition to changing out your HVAC units or your panel and stuff like that, these are some of the other alterations that will require a full submittal. If you're removing walls, whether it's an exterior wall or an interior wall, if you're adding windows or changing the dimensions of the windows, and if you're doing any type of foundation repair. Some of the old houses, they have some foundation damage. Their foundation could be cracked, or it could for one reason or another, it needs an upgrade. Like if you're adding a load-bearing beam, you have to underpin the foundation in certain spots, so you'll have to have a full set of plans for that. Examples of structural changes. So anytime you have an open kitchen concept, you're going to be replacing a load-bearing wall with beams. So those beams have an implication structurally, and you'll have to have a structural engineer detail out what that looks like on a full set of plans, and also create some structural calculations that will defend the dimensions of the beam being used to replace the wall. If you're doing an addition, same thing. You'll have major components to an addition, right? You have a new foundation, new exterior walls, new wall framing, new roof framing. All of these components have to have a full set of plans and full submittal. And any new construction. So like in this picture, we have a ground up ADU, and we had to do a full set of plans. So let's talk a little bit about what is the difference between over-the-counter OTC versus a full set versus express. So over-the-counter permits are for permits that are non-structural. And basically the process is you fill out the application. They give you the permits on the spot. In LA City, you can actually do it electronically and pay for the fees, and you get a building permit electronically. You get basically, they send you a printable job card and you're good to go. But that's for small jobs. So if you were doing a bathroom remodel that you weren't changing the footprint of the bathroom, you're replacing like for like, you could definitely get an express permit in many of the cities. So on some other examples of over-the-counter permits or types of upgrades would be a panel upgrade, a new roof or a re-roof, and a like-for-like remodel. So even if you're remodeling the kitchen, and as long as you're not replacing any walls or removing any walls or making the exterior openings larger, you can definitely get an over-the-counter permit for that. Now, the full set of plans. So this is what it encompasses. Full set of plans encompass architectural and engineering for the area of being affected. It requires a plot plan with Title 24 notations, which are energy efficiency calculations. Basically, you have to defend a certain amount of energy efficiency in the house. That's a California requirement. Also, the structural details. So if you're removing a wall or adding a room, what are all the structural components of it? And that has to be stamped by a licensed structural engineer. Basically, for a large project. And what the process is, you basically fill out the same paperwork that you would for the express, but you're submitting it. And it's a lengthier process for it to be reviewed and corrected and approved. So this could take 6-8 weeks, maybe 2 weeks. 2 months. Could take 3 months. For major additions where you have implications on a hillside and other things, that definitely can take longer. But that constitutes part of the process for a full plan submittal. Other examples are home additions. So home additions, ADUs, garage conversions into living space, new construction, or even the development of a new house or new structure. All of that is a full set that's going to take many months to get approved. So express permits, the cool part, so for full submittals in the city of Redondo Beach, for example, you can pay a premium of your plan check fees, and you can actually skip the line a little bit and basically it'll take half the amount of time that it normally takes to get them at least reviewed for the first time and approved. So you're basically kind of cutting if you have a 6-month window where you think these things are going to take to get approved, you can probably cut it down to 3 months. So that's only available in select cities. Not all cities offer that type of permit. Well, now that we've covered all the serious stuff, it's time for something fun. Alex's Trivia Corner. All right. So today's trivia question for an undisclosed prize is, when was the California Building Code first introduced in California? A, 1849, B, 1978, C, 1776. And by the way, for those of you who don't know what a California Building Code is, it's basically the code, the regulation that's used to determine what are the compositions of the different buildings, what are the attributes that it has to have, both structurally and performance-wise, etc. So that's a fun little trivia. Go ahead and please post your answer in the comments below, and Brian will get with you and make arrangements to deliver your prize. So the first one that gets it right is the one that wins. All right, folks, that's the fun part, the Alex Trivia Corner. And next is questions. Brian, we got any questions? Let's drill down on some questions, man. Love that sound effect. Love that.
We got some questions here. Somebody wants to know, are permit fees a scam?
Well, we certainly get a significant amount of people complaining about the amount of the permit fees. Over the years, over the last 4 years, they've actually gone up quite a bit. So, no, it's not a scam. I mean, it's just part of the cost of doing business, and the different cities, they do have very different cost structures. So it's hard to say. The way that we handle the building permit fees is you reimburse us. So we show you the receipt of what we paid. You just pay us for the building permit fees. We don't try and incorporate it into the project or anything like that. It's just a pass-through expense.
Somebody else wants to know, do I need to pay extra for city inspections?
Typically, no, you do not have to pay. The inspection fees are incorporated into the inspection fees are incorporated into the plan check fees and the building permit itself, not the plan check fees, but into the building permit. So that's all there. The only time that you'd have to pay extra for the inspections would be if you requested an inspection over the weekend or something difficult like that, or during a holiday, etc. But for the most part, most cities don't even offer that. So I know in Redondo they offer a Saturday inspection if you wanted to at an extra fee.
Somebody says, you talked about express/expedited fees. How much can I expect to pay for an expedited permit? For expedited permits, that means you're literally paying to get in front of the line. That's 1.5 times the normal fee. If you're just paying an over-the-counter permit, most permit fees are about $1,000 for bathroom model, etc. If you're doing a full set of plans, that could be between $6,000 and $10,000. It just depends on how large the scope is. That's a good question, actually. It's a very commonly asked question. Somebody wants to know, do I need floor plans for over-the-counter permits?
In some cities you do, but in most you don't. So some cities will require, like Torrance requires floor plans for just about everything. Redondo Beach does not require floor plans. RPV doesn't require floor plans for over-the-counter permits. So it depends. It depends on the city.
Another question here. Somebody wants to know, who do I contact if I live in an unincorporated area?
So you would be dealing with the county of Los Angeles, and they happen to have their building and safety office in the city of Lomita. I think it's off of Narbonne. Yeah, it is off of Narbonne.
Somebody else wants to know, they have a question about plans. Are full set of plans expensive?
Define expensive. Yes, it's expensive. A full set of plans, it's expensive. You can pay anywhere between $8,000 to $25,000. It just depends on how big the project is.
We got an interesting question here. Somebody wants to know, what's the worst that can happen if I build without permits?
The worst that can happen is they can ask you to knock it down. So I've seen this, actually. I've seen where people build without plans and they encroach on easements on either or setbacks, on easements or on setbacks, and then they're asked to knock it down. So if you're doing them in addition, you better have all your ducks in a row. You better get a site survey and do the property lines surveyed and etc.
Somebody wants to know, will I need multiple permits for a large project?
Yes. So for the most part, you're going to pull they're going to pull a combination permit, which will include the building permit, the electrical permit, the plumbing permit, the HVAC, which is the heating and cooling. And that'll be pulled as a combination permit. So that'll encompass all of the different inspections that you need.
All right, we got one last question here. Somebody wants to know, somebody says, I recently purchased a house that had unpermitted work from the previous owner. Now the city's ordering us to make these corrections. What can I do?
Well, that's probably one of the most uncomfortable positions to be in. In some cases, you have to recreate plans that are made in the dimensions of the room that was added. And then hopefully the rooms don't encroach, or the new building doesn't encroach on any of the setbacks. It's not a very good situation to be in. So if you find out that you're buying a house that doesn't have permitted work, and part of the job was an addition, be very, very careful with that. Good question. Okay.
Well, guys, this concludes episode 52, Building Permits. If you want to learn more about construction, want to learn more about what we do, please visit us at baycitiesconstruction.com. You need help remodeling your kitchen or bathroom, there's hundreds of articles on there on the blog page. So check out the resources tab up at the top, and you can access all of those articles. We have, 300-400 articles in there. If you hadn't had a chance to take a look at this, we did do an episode about pulling permits in the OC in Orange County. That would be episode 51. You can watch it on the replay on Facebook and YouTube if you haven't done so. Hey guys, just a reminder, like and subscribe. This is all free content, and we really depend on you and your support and your participation to make the show fun. So if you have questions, please post them on the comments below, or you can send us an email. Send Brian an email at brian@baycitiesconstruction.com, and we'll put your questions up live on the show. We'll have it read while we wrap up the show or during the Q&A part. Hey, we also have a very cool channel, our YouTube channel, and we have tons of videos on there. And we're always trying to grow our subscriber base so that we can share the good word of the work that we do here. We've got some really cool videos, particularly on trends for 2022, kitchen and bathroom trends for 2022. You can learn a lot about home remodeling from some of these videos, and it's kind of cool little channel to check out if you want to learn or educate yourself on the components of kitchen and bathroom remodeling or home remodeling. For those of you that are curious about us, been doing this for a long time, about 16 years in business. We've got our business license posted up here. And we offer a full service team. So we've got interior design. We do the architectural engineering. We represent you with the city and manage your project and build it all out. So thanks for joining us for another show. Really appreciate it. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex with Bay Cities Construction, reminding you, you don't need a contractor. You need a team of pros. See ya. My name's Alex Rodriguez, reminding you, you don't need a contractor. You need a team of pros.